Hello everyone, it's September now, so now's the perfect time to take some cuttings to increase your display next year. Best of all, it's absolutely free to do, so you don't have to fork out for new plants. It's also good if you've got a plant with sentimental value and it's not freely available anymore, you can take cuttings and increase your stock that way. So I'm going to help you to do that today, and we're going to start with this Salvia Amistad. Now my dad gave it to me last year and it's about 7 foot in places now. I'm really quite surprised it's got so big actually, but a little bit of feed and care and it's amazing what will happen. Now for plants like this Salvia that sometimes they don't get through the winter, best thing to do, take cuttings as an insurance policy. It's easier to look after small plants than it is to look after big ones. So if you try and take some cuttings and they'll root within a couple of weeks, I like to put them in water. So if you've got a spare jam jar knocking about, that would be ideal. Now ideally you don't want to take cuttings from stems that have flowers on them or the start of flower buds. However, this plant seems to love to throw up flowers on pretty much every stem, but hopefully you can see this. No, that's big sunflower. Tricky to do. Alright, so here you can see this is a stem that doesn't have a flower on it. So what I'm going to do, so sorry, I'm really not very good at this. So what I do is snip the stem off. So here's your stem. Now what will happen is, if you strip away, actually it's probably best we take the cutting first properly, just below where the leaves meet the stem. Just snip there. I'm so sorry, this is ridiculous. And then what you want to do is carefully just pull down and pull the leaves off. Now ordinarily you'd only want to leave a small amount, so what you do is reduce those big leaves by half, but because we're doing it with the water you don't need to do that. So you just pop it in a jar, a couple of weeks, it'll have roots that are about 2-3 inches long, and at that point you can transfer them into a gritty mix of compost, something free draining. They don't like to get too wet. I also wanted to show you these naked ladies. They're called colchicums, and people think that they're related to crocuses, but they're not. They're related to lilies. They're called naked ladies because in September they'll send up the flower stalk, no leaves, the leaves won't come in for a good few months now, but they're expensive to buy. Can be like £9 or £10 per bulb, which is ridiculous. Of course I don't spend that much on my bulbs. What I do, the big online garden centres, they tend to really mark things down at the end of the season. So I picked up these, for instance, Was it last year? No, I think it was the year before last, from Thompson and Morgan. If you sign up for their emails, they often tell you, you know, when these reductions are, and you can generally get yourself a bargain. Now, I wouldn't recommend ordinarily that you go with Thompson and Morgan. Their service has been absolutely shocking the last few years. Something about adding a new computer system right at the beginning of the growing season, so people had problems with orders and whatnot. Anyway, all I think is, you know, if you go on the garden centres online, sign up for their emails, chances are you'll get a bargain around this time of year. I had to dig up one of my Voodoo lilies because of the polytunnel being constructed. So what I do want to show you though is how they actually divide and reproduce. So I hope you can see. Just check. Yeah. Right, so this here, this big mess, will be the parent bulb. And what I'd recommend you do, because this is a young bulb. I mean, they hang around on the bottom of the parent bulb, and if you can see that little knobbly thing there, that is going to be a new bulb. It's going to take a good 4 or 5 years to, you know, to grow and flower, but you can just snap it off, put it in the bag where you store your Voodoo lilies. You don't have to actually dig them up at all, but as I say, I had to because the polytunnel, it was growing really close to there. I didn't want it trampled, so I dug it up. So this is a bulb that's probably about 2 years old, and then this one is, can't see really for roots, but this is the big parent bulb. They look a bit soggy, but if you put it somewhere warm, then it will flower again next year. Pretty big. So yeah, that's the Voodoo really. This is one of my chocolate cosmos. Now they don't produce seeds, so you have to propagate them by taking cuttings. They're not reliably hardy over winter either, so it's like as I say, it's like an insurance policy. If you take the cuttings, get them well rooted, it's easier to look after something that's small than it is to look after a great big whopping plant, especially if you don't have a greenhouse or anything. So I'm going to take some cuttings of the chocolate cosmos as well, which I hope should give me flowers next year. And these cyclamen I bought for £1 each from Morrison's during the week. Loads of flowers, absolutely gorgeous. Now, like the other day when I did a hanging basket with pansies and heather, that's how it's looking now at the moment. I'm going to put a heather that I got from Lidl for 99p during the week, and I'm going to put the cyclamen in there as well into this basket. Now obviously petunias are done now, you know, They've shown the best, but yeah, they're definitely over now. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do with those. And I think that's about it. I'm going to do a video soon about my favourite plant, the Streptocarpus, because I think they're absolutely amazing. They're super easy to look after, and they're easy to propagate as well, and they flower for about 9 months of the year. So I think that's what I'll do for my next video. These are all from Dibley's. They're all the absolute best for Streptocarpus. Absolutely beautiful they are. So that's what I'm going to do, and hopefully you'll join me soon. Please like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.